Hi everyone, this is Britton here, the author of Revealing School and the Art of Raising Children for Greatness series. I'm very sorry I'm late. I know I said I'd try to be here by 7. We had to push it back. I am really sick. That's one of the joys of having 6 kids. One went down and they just start to go one by one, and you know it's coming your way. I did all I could to fight it. I was like a Nazi all week. Don't put your hands in the chips and in the cereal. And I was washing my hands all the time. It doesn't matter. It's a waste of energy. They always get me. And so I do have a little bit of a fever right now. But I came here because I want you to know this is very important to me. And even if I'm sick, I'm here. I'm going to be here on Friday, hopefully, unless I'm literally in bed dying. Okay? And my wife's in the room just in case I pass out now. Anyway, that's why I'm late, and I do apologize. Today I want to answer some more of your questions. I actually want to get to some of you guys who've been really ambitious. It's really surprised me that some people got this book and they read it once in one day, in one sitting, read the whole book. One guy in the comments said he actually read it twice in 2 days, so all the way through. I really didn't expect that, but you guys are pumped up. You've read through it, and now you're asking, what next? What do I need to do to raise my kids for greatness? Obviously, you've read the book, and it's given you some great ideas. It's inspired you. It's kind of gotten you started, but you're looking for a little bit more. That should be the case anyway. This is a standalone book, but it's part of a series. And so tonight, I'm just going to address what next, like what's your next step. The first thing, if you really want to understand this movement and what this is about, it's going to be about 1,400 pages by the time we publish all 5 books. This one that you just read was 130. So there is a lot more to this. I would highly recommend, if you haven't yet, I just want to show you the comparison. I can never line this up with the camera. Can you see that? There we go. There's a huge thickness difference. This is the first book. This is Revealing School. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I didn't want to repeat things in this book, so there are things that are in Revealing School that you need to know that would have been in this book, except I'd already covered them in Revealing School. I told you originally that Revealing School was just to get you homeschooling, to convince you that you needed to homeschool. That's partly true. You do need to read Revealing School. And here's why. I teach jiu-jitsu, which is a form of submission wrestling if you've never heard of it. That's why I've got fun ears. I don't know if you can see that. They're all crumpled up. But it's really important when we show a move in jiu-jitsu, we always show it 2 ways. We show it the right way, and then we let everybody go work it. And if you walk around, everybody's doing it wrong. Like, they saw the right way to do it, but they need a lot more. They need to see the wrong way to do it. So we will go down and say, okay, you don't do it this way, and here's why. And we do it this way because if you do this, then this would happen. Even though you think it makes sense, you didn't think about this and this and this. And so to know how to raise your children for greatness, it's not just about what you need to do. It's about what you need to avoid. And many things in school people think are benign are actually really, really bad. And so I know a ton of people, even unschoolers, and it's like, dude, do you have any idea what you're doing? Do you know where that came about? So I would highly recommend reading Revealing School as a parent if you are looking for like the next step in the series. You need to read the whole series. So go back, read Revealing School. It'll enlighten you more and give you a little bit more direction. The second thing is the next book is coming. Raising Children for Greatness, the prep schools and stuff. I talk about this in the next book, so I hate to get into it, but there's a reason this book is so thin, the one on education. It's because the heart of a great education is character, and that's coming next. That book is twice as long. It's super powerful. I think it's better than this, or at least more important than this. So many of the academic problems kids have is related to character, and it doesn't mean that they're a bad kid, but they may lack courage. They may lack self-control. They may lack, just whatever. So that book is coming, just so you know. So if you get this done, you're like, man, I'm having trouble implementing this. It's because you only have, it's not even 1/10 of what's coming. All right, so that's for you. Revealing School, and then just anticipate character is coming. You can certainly get started with education. There's plenty in there to get started. As for your kids, some people said, okay, what curriculum do you use? There's a lot of confusion. Obviously, we've written our own curriculum, and there's 2 sites, which is confusing for a lot of people. We started off as just a preschool kindergarten company. So we have a site called Blue Manor Education, and it has some print books and it has some PDFs. It has some PDFs, some print books. The print books are great. They're up to date. But you're right. It's mostly kindergarten and preschool, and it's great. I've written almost every book personally. I've also illustrated them. I can't find the other one. This is the proof. This is Dino Hunt. This is a great book. Introduce your boys to poetry. Poetry is important, not because poetry itself matters necessarily, or it's artistic value, but it makes you a wordsmith. And there's so much poetry for girls, so I think girls become great speakers. There's not a whole lot for boys in language and stuff. So I wrote Dino Hunt for boys. So everything I do, even though this looks like just a fun book, like there's a purpose to it. It's to get boys interested in poetry, which is the foundation of great oration. And of course, I didn't talk about it in this book, but it's coming. Oration is one of the keys to greatness. That's coming. So anyway, so there is that curriculum available. The other thing that we have is called Blue Manor Academy. That's an online site. Some people have already gone to that and they said, oh, that's really cool. Do you have more? Like, what's going on with it? It's a work in progress and we need your support. We'd love you guys to get on. It's $6.99 a month. I don't make a penny. We have only sunk our money into this movement because we believe in it, because we want it for our own kids, and it's cheaper than prep school either way. So not that you should feel bad for me, but the point is that we can only build this with your support. And it's not perfected yet, absolutely, but there's great stuff there. And the more people that subscribe, the more people I can hire. Like one of the things that's really held us up is coders. Coders are expensive. I can do the art, I can write the books, it's all in my head. But coders are expensive, and so we can only build so much at a time. But the more subscribers we get, the faster we'll build this for our kids. So, Blue Manor Academy, I would highly recommend checking it out. It does say preschool to 6th grade. Some of that stuff is so advanced and so good in the history, I listen to it. So even if your kid is in middle school or high school, check out Blue Manor Academy. There's some amazing content there, and it's just going to keep growing. Every month we're adding to it. It's going to become the greatest academy in the world, in my opinion. It's there. It's in my head. I just got to get it out. And then people have said, okay, what else do your kids use? And that's absolutely important. So what do my kids use? Their core curriculum is Blue Manor Academy. That's where they start. But they use a billion different things. My kids are using, right now they're using a math app called Prodigy. My little boys love it. It's a great math app. It's amazing. So they haven't even get on for math. Math is our weakness at Blue Manor Academy right now. It's going to get better, but it's our weakness. So they're using that. Chess. If you've been following us before, all of my kids, the older kids, are state chess champions. They've won their grade in state several years in a row. Everybody thinks I'm this master genius coach or something, and I'm teaching them because I played, in high school, and I'm the coach. They use Chess Kid. That's where they learned. My daughter went to state and won the first year, and I was like shocked. I was like, how did you learn how to play chess that well? So she was using a site called Chess Kid. I think it's $5 a month, and they have some free stuff. It's amazing. But and the point is like, what's their geography curriculum? Well, their core geography curriculum is Blue Manor Academy. But they've got like 10 or 15 apps on their iPads that they use. It doesn't have to be that regimented. A great education is not A, B, C, D. It's not that standardized. Every kid's going to be a little bit different. Every kid's going to have unique passions. And there's so many different learning tools. Just start incorporating them. So I guess what I'm saying is Blue Manor Academy isn't done. I would highly recommend you supplementing it. I can give you a list of apps and stuff that we use, but you're going to have to start being creative on your own too, and really taking leadership of your own home and your own kids. You're suited best to them. You know them better than I know them. You'll know what suits them best. So as far as curriculum goes for your kids, Blue Manor Academy is great, especially for younger kids. And then just start supplementing stuff. Go to LibriVox. It's an online site. Have them start reading the classics. A lot of them are free on LibriVox. Another person asked, what makes our curriculum different? And it's because they've gone there, and it just seems like the same stuff because they haven't read about character yet. It's like, okay, this is just the academics, and it kind of looks like what other people are doing. And some of that's true. I mean, every kid's going to have to learn how to read, and so it's the same. What sets ours apart? Well, one is character. We heavily focus on character. More is coming, like I said. It's not done. That's not the finished product. But heavily focus on character because character is the heart of elite education. I'll talk about this in the next book, the difference between our character curriculum and other people's. Everybody else's is basically a niceness curriculum. It'll make your kids really nice, and that's really good. but that's not what will make them great. I mean, nice is okay, but we want courage, we want honor, we want, dedication and loyalty. All of those things we have to teach into our kids at a young age. So that's in there. Like, our character curriculum is very different. It's not super PC. It is really going to be to raise your kid to be a world leader. If you look at Donald Trump, he went to a prep school very similar to mine, a military boarding school. He's not the nicest guy, and I'm not going to defend anything he said or anything like that. But you can't say that he's a coward. I mean, he gets up there and doesn't flinch on a world stage. So he definitely has developed courage. He's definitely got a killer instinct. Like, there are certain things that have been trained into him, whether you like him or not, that make him, powerful, make him great. Obama, I'm not a huge fan, but he's a great speaker, a very powerful speaker. He also went to prep schools, he knows what he's doing. So our curriculum's going to be different because we're going to focus heavily on character. The other thing that and I hate to even get into this because this is in the last book, The Noble Way, but we talk about wealth creation. There's so much stuff out there that's like this law of attraction, kind of mumbo jumbo, work hard and just follow your dreams and stuff. And that's like the ABCs of building wealth and stuff like that. That's not really how they do it. It just makes people feel good, like, oh, if I just work hard, and yeah, if you sell your soul, eventually you can make some money, but that's not how we want our kids building their wealth. We don't want them working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, just sold their soul. We want them to be able to build powerful wealth. Oration is going to be huge on our site. It's not yet, but it's going to be huge. The ability to speak powerfully, I mean, that's huge. And I get into that in the last book. I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want to reveal everything. Another key thing is we're going to teach true history. We don't care. If it's not PC, it doesn't matter. We're just going to teach the truth. History is no good if it's just a collection of socialist myths. And that's exactly what public school kids are. I'm not going to get into that today, but I promise you, I'll prove it to you. If you just have an open mind, it's not hard. It's not some crazy thing. Like, I'll walk you through step by step how many lies we believe. Not the left or the right, but both of them. Anyway, so we're going to teach true history. We're going to teach history that's empowering. If your kid knows that Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, that's okay. When I was a kid, I remember being tested on the names of the boats that Christopher sailed over on. What can I do with that? How is that important? If I really need to know it, I can pull out my cell phone out of my pocket and figure out what the boats' names were. But that's not essential. So when we teach history lessons, we're teaching essential history so you understand the way the world works, what's going on, and more importantly, what you can do with it. If your kid is in a position leading a $1 billion company, or he's the president, or whatever, maybe he's just leading his family. He's going to be able to draw from history these historical insights of great families. Anyway, the point is we're going to use useful, inspiring, and powerful history. It's not going to be trivia. It's not going to be a list of facts and nonsense. I probably already went too long. That just gives you some idea of the direction we're going. Another thing that we're going to try to do at some point, it's not there, and I haven't even talked about it. This is in the 4th book. It's going to be The Noble Way. That'll be after character, hopefully next fall. But it talks about the importance of networking. One of the reasons kids go to prep schools is to network. And people don't realize that. So academically, it's not like totally different. The character training is great. You can do that at home. But another thing is about networking our kids. We don't want our kids networking with anybody. But if there are other kids being raised for greatness, they're going to be working up to the top, and they're going to need to know each other. They're going to be able to network. And hopefully at some point we can set up a way to network between our families, between our kids. If we have 2 artists or top performers, how cool would it be if they could connect in this kind of homeschooling world together and follow each other's dreams and encourage each other and grow together? And if this one gets a job here, they can kind of network. And I'm telling you, that's what the other guys are doing. There's a reason that all the prep schools pretty much run the world. They're so overrepresented at the top, and it's because they network. They're not just outperforming your kids. They're just totally out-networked. So those are some things that are coming. I do kind of feel bad because Blue Manor Academy isn't as good as it should be yet. When you go there, it's not necessarily great, but think of it as we're starting at the foundation. I need you to help build this. The other thing is, don't just look for the polish. There are other sites out there that they're funded by billionaires. They're teaching your kids mostly garbage. It's just all the same stuff, but it's really fancy. It's fun. Your kids are just going to be attracted to it, but it's not substance. And when I went to probably the most shocking things ever was when I tried out for Special Forces. a while ago. I actually got selected for the Green Beret training, and I remember going there and thinking, man, this is special forces. They're gonna have these facilities to the sky and like the most elite gear and everything. I was in the Air Force getting like these high-speed tactical combat boots and stuff like that. So I'm just imagining, man, I'm gonna get in the Green Beret world and it's just gonna be whatever. When I get there, they give me like a rucksack and it's like duct taped, and I'm doing this ruck march for a test, and they're like, pick out a pair of boots. So you can't wear new boots, and they were Gore-Tex on the first ruck. You'd get annihilated. And how did we, like the gymnasium, I'm like, man, they probably have like, they're gonna hook us up to wires and stuff, and it's gonna be like Rocky, the Russian version. It's gonna be all scientific and stuff like that. Pretty crazy. We did like log PT and sand PT. That's where you like fill up sandbags and you just move them around and stuff. And everything was makeshift, and it's because that really doesn't matter. That's just the fluff, like the substance. We can almost do this better without all the fluff. My kid was doing another preschool site. I'm not going to say it, actually, just to be nice for now. But, I mean, they loved this thing. They always got on there. They did everything every day. And then finally I was like, man, that's cool. And I started sitting down with them and just kind of checking, like, hey, you learning anything? And they're like, they didn't know anything. They were on like level like 100, and they didn't know how to read. Like they'd gone through all the lessons, they'd click the buttons and stuff. So just because it's fancy and it's well presented doesn't mean it's quality substance. And we're always going to put the substance and the quality at Blue Manor ahead of the presentation and stuff. I mean, we want to get there. We want it to be amazing and awe-inspiring when you get there too. But we're doing the best we can right now, kind of with what we have. So anyway, I would highly recommend, if you can, go to Blue Manor Academy, not because it's the greatest site on the internet yet, but because we really need your support to build this. A lot of these other sites that you hear about, like Khan Academy, and a lot of the other ones are being funded by people who aren't necessarily good. They're taking over all the education. The public schools are now giving kids free education online. It's in the public school model. That is not what we're after. But if you support this movement through our site and getting our books and whatever, I will build this. I will build this, and you'll be able to get that education that the elites are getting, and they're paying $40,000, $50,000 a year to send their kids to prep schools. That's where Donald Trump's kids are. That's where Obama's kids are or went. I can build it for you, but I do need your support. It's not the finished product yet. We're just starting. So I'd really encourage you, even if it's not super impressive, to just believe and have faith in me, in what you've read, and in what we're doing. So anyway, guys, I actually feel a little bit better. It must be the adrenaline. I'll probably crash as soon as we're done. Does anybody have any other questions? I hope that was helpful. I wish there was a timer. I don't even know how long I've been talking. Is there any other questions, Janine? I think it's Joy. She's been great. She's asked a few questions. She has kids that are older. This is also important. Most of mine is starting at the beginning, like preschool. And it's not preschool. It's not like 4th grade. I just say preschool or even the grade levels. I only say them to communicate so people understand. But it shouldn't be thought of as that way. It should be thought of as levels or belts. Like when you come to jiu-jitsu and you're 30 years old, you get a white belt because if you don't know any jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter how old you are. So I recommend all kids kind of start at the beginning. Maybe they don't need the phonics and stuff like that, but the history and stuff, all the Bible lessons, it all builds on itself. We use a layered approach. So if you were starting out and maybe you've got an 8 or 9 or 10-year-old, let's say, and you jump on, you should not put him in 5th grade on Blue Manor Academy site. He should go back to kindergarten. But don't think of it. It's going to be horrible. That's why originally we called it levels, and it was too confusing. But he should really start at the beginning. If you skip the ABCs and stuff, that's fine. But start doing those history lessons because it all builds on itself. And just think of it like a belt system. He's going to start belting up. So I would start at the beginning using common sense. You don't have to do the ABCs again. If your kids are older and your kids are in high school, I would still use this curriculum. And you're going to have to supplement some things. And then as far as like raising your kids for greatness, how do you get your kid back on track? You're really gonna have to read the next book because it is about character. Some of these guys have been talking about their kids are burned out, their kids are disenfranchised. You've got to get the character, the spirit. That when I say character, I mean the spirit. You have to get the spirit right. You have to get the spirit back in this game. Until you do that, there's really not much you can do. You can't raise a kid for greatness without their consent. If they're not on board, you can't pull them across the finish line. Like they have to want to sprint ahead. That's why that motivation chapter in that book is so long and so important, the last one you read. But even that motivation chapter, it's not enough. It's really about character and the spirit. So that is coming. let me see. Thank you. Is there a list of classics in order that you would be? Okay, cool. Classics. Okay, so classics are dangerous, and I would, as I said in that book, I'd be really careful with the classics. I do want to come out with a list. We put a lot of the classics that I personally like on Blue Manor Academy. You can listen to them for free, or you can get the list. Right now, there is a free membership for like a few more days. So if you sign up right now, you get it for free for a few more days. As of like, as soon as my coders are done, it's going to go up a little bit in price just because we can't keep growing this without charging a little bit. Hopefully it'll be a nonprofit someday and all this will be free. That's all I really want is create the movement. But it's going to be cheap though. It'll still be under $10, probably $9.99. So classics are really important. The only one thing I want to say is just because something's a classic, you don't necessarily let your kids read it. I saw Catcher in the Rye. Okay, that's a classic book. Everybody's heard of it. You think, oh, it was written a long time ago. It's probably great. If I remember correctly, there's some really inappropriate, really bad lessons in that book. I think there's even like the boy visits a prostitute and stuff. Some of these classics came out of the Enlightenment movement, and they're borderline satanic. I mean, they're really bad. I would still, like the Communist Manifesto, for example, I'd still have my kids read that book because they need to know it, but you have to be really careful how you handle that. And I don't want to get too much into it because we're going to put that on our site. I'm going to do masterclass videos on there. There's a few. They're not really well done, but they're going to get a lot better. And I'm going to start introducing your kids to some of the classics, talking about like the Communist Manifesto. Every kid has to read that book, but I don't want any kids to believe in it. I mean, they need to know what's wrong with that. So is there a list of good classics? Well, if I had a boy, high school boy, best classic ever, I would highly recommend Call of the Wild. That's about a dog, but actually it's about a kind of coming of age or coming into manhood book. So that's a great book. If I had a teenage boy who hadn't read it, Call of the Wild, phenomenal book. White Fang, it's okay. Same author, it's okay. Jack London also wrote another amazing book. This is on our site. It is called To Build a Fire. It's about a guy building a fire. It's one of the most intense. It's amazing, and it's just a short story. God Sees the Truth But Waits. That's by Leo Tolstoy. That's a very short story. That's probably one of the most powerful things I'd ever read, and I hadn't even heard of it until a few years ago. So that's another good one. Off the top of my head, let's see. If your kid can handle it, War and Peace is phenomenal, but that's a hard book. So that's not my go-to. Huckleberry Finn's amazing. Gosh, it would almost be better to create a list of classics your kids you should be really careful because some of them aren't great. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to try to create that list for you guys, and everything that's on Blue Manor Academy I believe in. So you could start there, I guess. Man, and then I really would focus on, for an older kid, maybe some character training and inspiration training. Like, get behind your kid. Like, what do you want out of life? How can I help you get it? Can we let them pick out a curriculum. There was 2 math curriculum or art curriculums. One's a phenomenal art curriculum. It's what I use. It's and I illustrate professionally. And I tried to get my daughter doing it, and it just wasn't for her. She likes some YouTube video, and the artist isn't amazing, but my daughter just really connected with the girl, and she told stories. And so anyway, I tried to get her on the other curriculum, and it took a long time because she loved the other one. And she learned plenty from the other one, so we let her have it. So I would also say, let your kid take some leadership in this. Let your kid pick out some of his own curriculum. Maybe have a list of approved classic books that are just really good, and then let your kid pick one out for himself. And he doesn't have to write a book report on it. Just get him, he's supposed to be inspired by reading the classics. I never make my kids do book reports on the classics. I think that's a horrible thing. You don't need to do plot outlines unless you want to be an author someday. Just read it. They're full of wisdom and insight. They're deep. Just have your kids read it. Get them inspired to read great books. I know that's not enough. I might address that more, Joy, in the next video. Really think about what I would do if I was getting an older kid. This would be so much easier if those other books were out, because I would really start with character training. And I talk about kind of like a boot camp. It's all in the other book. It's really where to start. The only reason I didn't release it is because we're still editing it and it's longer, but it's coming. And I'd say that's almost, you have to start with the heart. And gosh, it's in the wrong order. The academics come second. You got to get the heart right first. So anyway, just know that is coming. I can't go into all of it. It's a 250-page book, so I'd just be rambling if I tried to. Hopefully that helps in some way. If you have more questions, just list them below, and I'll try to be more specific. I'll try to come up with the recommendations for some good classics, and I'll leave it in the comments below, or we'll post it. That's a great question. Anyway, check out Blue Manor Academy. That is not Blue Manor Education. A lot of people are like, what are you talking about? It's a bunch of books and it's preschool. Blue Manor Education is where we sell some of our print material. We have a great Bible curriculum. I wish I could show it to you. But we have some great options already on that. But the academy, the online academy, is what I recommend. And you can sign up for free. And you can start seeing some of the material we're using. And it won't be free forever, but you can still, these are public domain books, a lot of them, you can still look them up for free, or if you want to support our site, I'd appreciate it. I promise I won't go out and buy a Porsche. I'll just put all that money right back into the site. We'll hire coders, we'll build something amazing. Anyway, all right, I'll be back soon. I'll probably be back on Friday, and I'll try to ramble less. Hopefully I feel a little bit better. Thanks guys so much. I'll be back.